Marina is by far the most simpable mare in Hypixel Skyblock, and it's not just for her looks. In today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you how to make the most out of the Marina mare and how you can get tens of millions of fishing XP in just a few days. Before we get too far into the video, I want to thank you all for 10,000 subscribers. It really does mean a ton, and if you want to see more, it would help me out a whole bunch if you would go down and hit that subscribe button. And with that, let's get right into the video. If you don't know what Marina does, she is the fishing mare in Hypixel Skyblock. She has 3 perks, all of which relate to fishing, and the first one is actually probably the most powerful, and that is the Fishing Festival, and we'll explain that later. The other 2 are also very good for fishing XP, and those buff fishing XP by 50% on public islands, and give you a flat 15% sea creature chance. When she hosts her fishing festivals, there is an hour every 10 hours or so while she's mare that she has an event that you can catch sharks during. These sharks come in one of 4 forms, which are nurse sharks, blue sharks, tiger sharks, and great white sharks. All of them drop their fins and their teeth, which can be sold for money, and doing this event can actually make a decent bit of cash. Because she hosts one event at the beginning of each Skyblock month, and she's around for one Skyblock year, that means that there are 12 different shark events, which each last for an hour, so if you do all of them, you get 12 hours of this really juiced up fishing. During this event, you get absolutely insane amounts of XP, because all of the sharks give really high amounts of XP for how common they are. Of course, if you add this onto the fact that you're getting a bonus 50% fishing XP, and you have 15% more sea creature chance, meaning that you can solo fish and have 100% sea creature chance, it means that you can get insane amounts of fishing XP during this event. The other thing that you can get from this event is the Megalodon pet. Of course, the Megalodon pet itself really isn't that good, however, an epic Megalodon sells to George for 500k and a legendary sells for 2.5 mil. If you get even a little bit lucky with these and you catch, say, like 2 legendary Megalodons, you've already made 5 million coins just from those alone, and that really isn't that uncommon. And then if you add on the great white teeth and everything else that you get during that event, it can make a lot of money. Now that we've talked about what you can actually do in this event and when she's mare, now I want to talk about all of the different things and all of the different gear that you can use to max out your setup. In my opinion, nobody should really fish from fishing level 0 to level 10. From there, you don't have access to very many good rods or good armor, and it kinda just sucks and it's very slow. In my opinion, you should probably just put down clay minions or fishing minions. However, if you want to, you can definitely fish along the side. Once you get fishing level 10, you get access to the first rod that you're ever really going to use, and that is the challenging rod. The challenging rod really isn't that insane, however, it's a good starting rod, and the nice part about it is that when you upgrade it to the Rod of Champions, Rod of Legends, and later Rod of the Sea, it keeps everything that you've already put on it. So if you max out one of these, when you later on down the line max it out to a Rod of the Sea, it will keep everything you started with. A clean challenging rod really does not cost that much. It'll only cost you about 50k, and then whatever you want to use to enchant it, and in my opinion, that shouldn't cost that much either, because all you have to do is enchant it with regular enchanting table enchants. In my opinion, if you're maxing out a challenging rod, you should never really go past something like this, which just has regular enchants, nothing super crazy, unless you're like me and you just have a bunch of random books lying around. However, if you're maxing something out like this, the only thing that you're likely to have a major excess of is something like Magnet. Other than that, you really don't need to care that much. If you have access to reforging it with hunks of ice at Jerry, definitely go for that. Of course, right now I can't do that because it is not Jerry. And if you don't have access to that, you can always reforge it to something like Stiff, which will cost you about 100k, but it's really not that expensive in the grand scheme of things. If you are using this kind of setup, I recommend that you use angler armor. Of course, you can't use salmon armor until fishing 13, but once you have that, you should use that instead. Neither salmon nor angler is expensive at all. I think this costs about 600 coins, and salmon costs maybe 40k. It is really cheap, and basically anybody who has half a brain cell of decency will craft it you for free, and you're very unlikely to get scammed for something that costs less than 1,000 coins. If you're using this setup, it probably means that you're pretty early game, and so then you should stick with something like a rare flying fish. If you have a rare dolphin that you either caught or bought, definitely use that because it will be a lot better, but the difference between a rare flying fish and a common or uncommon dolphin is a kind of weird one. In my opinion, it's probably better to use the rare flying fish just because it's really cheap, and also the common and uncommon dolphin kind of suck. But past that, definitely use dolphin. In general, the sea creature chance that you get will be way better than any fishing speed that you get, and also definitely use both of these over a squid pet. Squid doesn't really do anything early on, and especially when it's not legendary. Once you have Fishing 15, which is the requirement to use Rod of Champions, I definitely recommend that you upgrade to that. It is super cheap. I think it only costed about 150k, and the salmon armor was also very cheap, only costing about 40k. Combine these two, and it's only a 90k upgrade, and it will definitely be a pretty decent buff to your sea creature chance and your speed. Also at this point is the time where you can start applying the tier 6 enchants. In my opinion, I would still stick away from stuff like Caster 6, however, all of the rest of them are very cheap, and it's really easy to get them all. Looting 4 is also a little bit more expensive sometimes, but it in general is really cheap. All of these are sort of up to you, but once you have a Rod of Legends, which is the next upgrade, you will definitely want to make sure that you have all of these. Once you're in the range of Fishing 15 to 19 or 20, then that's when you're going to want to get the Expertise enchant. Expertise is a really good enchant that increases your fishing XP by up to 20% and increases your sea creature chance by up to 6. If you have it out at level 10, which of course does take a little bit of time, it will be very powerful on any rod, and because it upgrades with all the rods, you can basically put this enchant on any time, and it's not like you're wasting anything. Once you've maxed out your rod a decent bit, that is when you can upgrade it to the Rod of Legends at Fishing 20. A lot of people will actually say to not fish at all until Fishing 20 and just use minions, and I can sort of see where you're coming from because at Fishing 20 you get this massive boost where you get Diver Armor and you get the Rod of Legends, which is a huge upgrade over the Rod of Champions. Around this level is the point where you should probably look into buying a level 100 Epic Dolphin or Legendary Dolphin and a level 100 Squid. Of course, you can also level these yourself, however, it is very nice to be able to buy them at level 100 and then just XP share other pets to make back the money. This sort of stuff right here is really powerful, and pets are honestly very underrated when it comes to fishing. Fishing 24 is when you unlock the true final form of fishing, which is of course the Rod of the Sea and Shark Armor. All of this requires Fishing 24, which sort of makes sense because it all comes from Great Whites, and this entire setup is pretty expensive. At this point is when you want to consider recombobulating your rod, putting things like Legion on your Shark Armor and also Submerged, and of course leveling up Expertise. A quick side note, just because you are not actually using a rod does not mean that it can't get Expertise levels. As you can see right here, my Speedster rod almost has Expertise 10, which would require 15,000 kills. I did not do that all myself. I didn't actually fish with a Speedster rod for like hundreds of hours. No, it's a little bit simpler than that. If you put your main rod in slot 2, and then a secondary rod that has Expertise on it in slot 1, that will actually put all of the Expertise kills onto this rod instead of this rod. Of course, this rod should have probably around 75 or 100,000 kills on it. Of course it doesn't because I have leveled a lot of useless rods, such as a Shredder, an Ice Rod, and just other random junk with this rod in my second slot, and them in the first slot. Once all of that gear is maxed out, the only things that you have left to care about are the other things that are smaller. The first is of course enriching your talismans to Sea Creature Chance, eating all of your cakes, which I've already done, and then finally, you want to make sure that any beacon you have is set to Sea Creature Chance and has enough fuel. Now that I've explained all the different gear that you need throughout progression, the next thing that you really care about and what really makes Marina super powerful is actually what you're doing. Right now, when I'm all alone, I have 94 Sea Creature Chance. And when I have Marina, I will have 100 Sea Creature Chance plus, which is really good. Also, it means that if you are wearing something like diver armor, as you can see I have a maxed out set of diver armor right here, and you're using a flying fish, then you can get almost 85 sea creature chance, which would actually put you all the way up at 100 without having to triple swap. If you don't know what triple swapping is, it's a super commonly used thing in fishing, and all it requires is one pet rule. When you throw a fishing hook, equip a flying fish. By doing this, it auto-equips your flying fish, and then you can change to a dolphin manually every catch. Do this, and every 5 minutes, you drop down and you kill the sea creatures that you've thrown below you, and you kill them with a squid. By doing all of this, you get the perks of all 3 pets at the same time, and if you do this during a shark event, you can get hundreds of thousands of fishing XP in an hour. I think I've seen people get over 1 million fishing XP in a single hour, which is pretty much insane in my opinion, and of course the reason that I'm doing it here is because you're less likely to get griefed, and it's sort of just nice to do it in a gold mine. I have other videos explaining what this actually is and how it works, but of course sometimes you will get random nons who end up learning how sea creatures work the hard way. In my opinion, there are sort of 2 different ways that you can do the shark event. If you just want XP, which is what I recommend you do, then you can go fish somewhere like the barn, in a gold mines, or in a random hub. This is probably the best option in my opinion, because the fishing XP that you get is really, really insane. Like, it is stupidly good, and you don't get this very often, so I recommend that you don't pass it up. However, if you're really down bad for cash and you just need money, then I recommend you fish with friends in a group, so then Legion can get you more pets using the magic find. Also, then you want to kill with something like a black cat or a griffin instead of killing with the squid, because you're caring more about the teeth and about the pets than you are about the money. If you're just fishing for XP, I recommend that you use shark bait over whale bait. Shark bait is really good because it increases the number of sharks you get, and the low level of sharks is actually where most of your XP comes from. If you just want money, like I said, then you should be sticking with whale bait, because all of the money comes from the tigers and the great whites. There are a few things that I want to wrap up before I end this video, the first of which being a small quirk with the Marina perk, which is the 15% sea creature chance. As you can see, right now I have 80% sea creature chance, however this is increased by a lot of buffs. However, it doesn't quite work that simply. It isn't quite like that with the perk because the 15% sea creature chance that you get from the perk is just flat. It doesn't scale with Renowned or with Legion or anything like that. I really don't know why, it just sort of is how it is, and it really confused me the first time it happened. However, that's how it's always been, and it's sort of something you just kinda gotta stick with. The other thing that I want to note is that there are actually quite a few people who will fish in maxed out Superior during events, and I think it's kind of weird because you could be getting a lot more XP if you're using a flying fish over a dolphin. However, I know that there are people who do it, so I just wanted to comment on it. It is a little bit strange, however, it means that you don't have to switch to a magic find set just so then you can get more magic find for killing things. And it's sort of just a nice, convenient way to still have 100% sea creature chance if you're fishing in a group. Also, one last thing, you can also fish when it's not the events. I didn't quite iterate that enough. However, even when it's not an event, fishing during Marina is really good for XP. However, quick note is that if you have fishing minions down right now or clay minions down and you're waiting to collect them, don't collect them during Marina because the XP buff that you get is only on public islands, and unless you've managed to figure out a way to collect fishing minions on public islands, that really isn't going to work for XP. And for this video, I think that just about wraps it up. If you want to see more and you did enjoy, definitely subscribe, as I love making videos for all of you guys, and as a thank you for 10,000 subscribers, I will be doing a face reveal in my next video. Not this one because I was too lazy and I wanted to get this one out today, but I will be doing one in my next video, I promise, and so if you want to see that, subscribe, and also join my Discord server so then you can get notified whenever I go live or I upload videos. And with that, I think that just about wraps it up. I'm super sorry if there are any jackhammer noises in the background of this video. I don't have control over when there's construction in my neighborhood. I'll see you guys later, and adios.